Hello and welcome to my EV base tour. This time the quality of the video should be a lot better. You might notice some pixels now, but trust me, it's for the best. I don't know if I ever showed off this steam tank before, but we got a nice fire design over here. And then these sides used to be like completely random because I completely screwed up the texture, but now they're just blank because I cannibalized their windows. So this is what remains of my HV base after I tore it apart. Got a very nice stuff here. There's this chest that I can barely reach. Um, this thing that I still haven't bothered using. Uh, I've been keeping most of my materials here, and then I just run back and forth to craft stuff. But a lot of this is empty now, because I keep, cannibalizing it. I also have bees here for some reason. I don't know if I ever showed this off, but this is my clean room. It's got EV stuff now, as well as an HV machine, which is why I have this transformer. Um, Here's how it works. I never showed this off. There's a battery buffer. Yeah. Um, so everything's been ripped out. No more LG tank. No more magic. No more fun. All that's left are these two steam multi-blocks and the power setup and the clean room. So that's enough of this base. I don't know if nobody asked about these circuits because I didn't get any comments, but these are custom sprites that I made using a resource pack that I made, this one. So nothing out here has changed. Now, I've moved everything up to this space, and I actually put it in a teleporter because I kept going back and forth so often. So the way this works is that there's 5 wings to this place. The one I'm in is bees. Ignore my enormous cursor, by the way. This wing is for farming, this wing is for magic, this wing is for machines, and then this wing is for storage. I haven't gone very much into bees. I have an unused alveary here, and that's the extent of my work. All these chests are empty. This has impregnated frames and then apiary shirt. But the rest of this is at least filled out. I'm in EV, but I never did do AE2. I just have, some base building blocks over here, and then all of these are automated. Logistics pipes are a godsend. I'll show you why later, but everything in this table, except this, that shouldn't be there, but everything else in this table is automated. I have the polyethylene, polyethylene setup from before. The reason I even finished EV, you can see I have IV now, but I haven't started it, is that I decided I should rush a tier 2 rocket so I could get these max upgrades for the drawers. They're the best ones I can get, and I really needed that tantalite, so I had to go to Mars. But you can see I've moved some farming stuff over here. There's 12 different crops growing here. I'm not completely familiar with how logistics pipes work, so I have a bunch of extras dropping on the ground here. But there's all these crops that I crossbred, and then this is going to be the farm for things that need blocks underneath. It's absolutely massive, and I have 6 plants in here, so there's that. I thought this looked cool at least. By the way, these are imperialistic and rebellious blocks. Now to the magic. I just moved everything over here. I haven't touched magic at all since moving everything over. Yeah. That's all I have to say about this. Oh yeah, I made this cool altar setup using bits. Um, I think all that's left to show off is this area. There's a lot going on here. This was always destined to become the most crowded area. So I quite like this setup. We have steam machines, and then all my LV machines, and then all the MV, all the HV, and then all the EV. And then just have some minor, automation I set up here to help finish EV. By the way, plungers are very useful in EV. So I was making graphite here, and if we come into here, I need to do this. How do you do this? On one. Okay. Um, Actually rushing EV was surprisingly really easy. The only roadblock I had after that was that for some reason I wanted to make 12 turbogas turbines, which took a tremendous amount of platinum, and at the very end of it, I realized that there is a cheaper way to make rotors than through the extruder. Behold, the assembler recipe only takes 4¼ ingots. So that saved me about 50 plus bars of titanium. I realized I wasn't going to have rutile, and I thought I would have to go mine more on the planets, which I didn't really want to, until I realized that it's not in here, I already processed it, but there's quite a lot of small ores on the tier 2 planets that just drop titanium directly, which saves me quite a lot of work. I made this distillation tower, which has been my friend. Set up these other machines. These two run off IV power now using those turbo turbines. I briefly looked into nuclear reactors, but it's looks like the most complicated thing ever, and you have to use like a separate application just to make sure they don't explode, or use setups. But I tend to leave my game running for hundreds of hours at a time, so anything that's not completely self-sustaining isn't a great fit for me, but we'll see. Um, Now that I have tungsten up here, I can make, where is it? This finally. So I'll try that out later. I'm curious as to what it looks like. I made, instead of automating ITNT, which I really should have, I can't believe I've made it to IV without setting up automation yet, but to rush the tier 2 rocket, I just crafted 16 stacks of them by hand. Got a bunch of oil byproducts here. I went into oil for the first time. It's actually really easy because it turns out there's such a thing as an oil sands vein that saved me something, I don't know. I'm sure it's not that hard to go into oil. Now what's going on over here is that this is extracting all the salty roots into their byproducts, which are actually really useful. That's endless sodium, chlorine, and potassium. And the chlorine especially is useful. I made this, I believe this is a multi-block extractor. Just cause. Yeah, dissection apparatus sounds cool. Dang it. Hope you're appreciating the high quality video in comparison to the last one. I didn't get a better computer, I just made the window small. The last thing over here is that I made this thing. It looks cool, and it's crushing cocoa, which I automated just for chocolate frames, but for no other purpose. So this was by far the most valuable thing I got for all the seed oil and sticky resin and all this other crap. There's that, I guess. These are the next most valuable. I don't even have to bother with assembler recipes for woven cotton. I just craft it by hand using a ton of stacks of these. But yeah, I need to put void upgrades on all these or something. I'll have to figure out more about the logistics pipes, which I did say I would show off more. I don't know if I covered it before or if I even had it before, but I have a um, HV wireless charger, which is amazing for this armor. So I can just freely take fall damage and it will recharge itself. It already has. Um, but the way I abuse this stuff is that I don't have normal fluid pipes anymore. I just have these, and they just carry the benzene from there to these turbines through fluid pipes, which is very convenient. I believe this is all moon stuff, probably. There's a couple things in there. This is all tier 2. No, this is all nether stuff. Um, this is all tier 2 stuff. I'm putting off processing any of these because once I get into Ivy, I get access to basically every multi-block, which will make doing all that way easier. So I just haven't bothered. I did craft every mold and shape, and I've been working on the lenses, but I can basically only craft a new lens every time I get a new type of gem, and it's probably going to last the rest of the game. Um, After setting up here, I realized that I've never lit up this area, so mobs come and bother me all the time. The closest I've ever come to a disaster is that a what was it? A gassed lightning infernal came up and started shooting fireballs about a block over my machines, and then also started striking me with lightning while I was right here. Um, so that was close. Um, Now that I made EV more EV machines and swapped them out with the HV ones in the clean room, the HV machines are almost caught up with the MV ones now, which I thought was interesting. Um, oh yeah, I haven't showed off the center area yet. You might have noticed this long chain of elevators. If I go and take it up, I believe I showed off all this in a different video, so I shouldn't need to, but, what? Okay. I don't know how that happened, but, I forgot this area is not lit up. Right, I was going to make magnum torches, but there was a reason I couldn't, and I don't remember the reason. But that'll solve the issue of mobs spawning up here. So this, has one tank, because I supply it with blazing pyrotheum. Or I would if I had it automated, but it turns out it's actually far easier to automate than lava. I'll just show you. Could I get the liquid form, please? Or the powder form? So it's just blaze powder, redstone, sulfur, and coal. And I already have this and this automated. And once I get... Actually, I have all of them automated because from glowstone I can get redstone and gold. And then... actually, I don't think redstone gives sulfur. But sulfur shouldn't be hard to automate. Anyways, it doesn't really matter because I'm probably not even going to use this anymore, but I do have every craftable cast in here as well as a plunger, you know, some output barrels, hoppers feeding into them. You know, you got the tables and the basins, automated option for each. And then over here, I don't have a pattern crafter because I already have all the patterns. But, you know, I got this, this, and this. I tried to make this. Turns out it's uncraftable now in this version because you can't get aluminum brass anymore. This is an aluminum brass table, so I just made brass blocks, deleted all the ingredients, and then gave myself the item. And then it turned out to be pointless because you don't even see it anyway. So I just thought I'd flex with that. Yeah, I know I cheated it anyways, but I didn't show off this. I went through the trouble of finding another ergast so I could get these cool blocks of fiery metal. These are factory block micropillars. This is not good. I still have a hole here because I'm kind of not working on this area. This is my steam tank. I actually have a proper design on it now that I can't show you because I fell. But the long distance fluid pipeline is actually correctly hooked up now. I'm starting to regret making it off-site now because there's not really any point. Solar boilers should be outclassed by now anyways, but I have it, so there's that. I use the steam for just my steam machines, I think. But I have a proper design on it. It's bubbles, if you can see that. But the way I did it is that they actually tile on the inside, if you look through it, or at least they line up. But there's all that. Now, the last interesting thing I have to show off is if we take these elevators all the way up, here's my rocket platform through this tiny hole in the sky. Got all that stuff, my NASA workbench, and my rocket. No, I'm not taking off. But I just thought it was cool. And what I'll probably do is turn these elevators into... I'll make it look like a space elevator. Well, hopefully it'll look cool. But I believe that's everything. Now I just need to take this and let this craft. How long does that take? Dang. Well, I guess I can stall for that much longer. Let's look around the quest book here. Yeah, this was surprisingly easy to just rush. By the way, the resources required for 8 LEV circuits is immense. Especially in this tier. But I guess I'll have to get used to it by this tier because this one's all about processing lines. It definitely looks painful. I'm thinking about going into blood magic, but I'll only do that if I feel like it. I have not hit the cap on any of these yet. I don't know if you could tell, but that was a very practiced motion there. Probably make a bunch of jars and set them up in the magic area there. The only reason I went to Ivy is because 1, I could, and 2, I also didn't feel like setting up, what's it called, an ME system until Ivy. I don't really know why, but yeah. And also, Ivy machines are fast, I'm sure, so there's that. I'm just not sure of the best way to get iridium at this point in the game. I should note that I could have progressed through Ivy before even finishing Eevee, which I thought was pretty funny. Because you have to get, I think you have to get a stack of tungsten steel to technically finish Eevee. Yeah. Which I do have here. But you could just make IV machines without ever getting to a stack of tungsten steel, and I'm sure you could also get, make motors without ever having 2 stacks of graphene. But there we go. Eevee is done, and IV is now startable. So yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk, and I will see you next time.